Scotch, bourbon, and rye. If they like a bottle, they'll tell you why. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Trenny and C. If you don't know by now, I'm Trenny, this is C. You can just follow like the way that it goes on the sign. It's like we're sitting beside our name or letter or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tonight we've got a little bit of a Weller showdown. Weller blind tasting. We have Weller 12 versus Weller Special Reserve. And these are interesting bourbons because of their exclusivity and the difficulty that people have finding them. Now, these are not particularly high-priced bourbons, but they are very sought after and produced in very limited quantities and can be very difficult for people to find. And in some cases, these Wellers are, allocated in small portions to large populations. So as soon as they become available, they are just gone.
Yeah, they're out of there.
Exactly. So
this is considered, they're called the poor man's Pappy.
Exactly.
Well.
So, and with Pappy being at the price that it's at these days, it's almost like the poor man's Pappy could exceed Pappy itself in desirability because, think about it, if I can get a cheaper version of it, I'm going to look for that. Now, all of a sudden, I can't find that. We have the Special Reserve here. Oh, I won't look because there's a sticker somewhere. And then we have the 12-year-old. So, I think the main difference here is pretty much age statement.
Age statement. So for these blind tastings,
right.
C is going to go first today. Mm-hmm. As you can tell, there's a color on each of the glass, and then up at the top of the label here, there is a color on the bottle. I'm actually going to bring the bottles over here so he cannot see as well. And I'm going to put those stickers on there a bit better. And they match and correspond. C has no idea which color corresponds with which. He is going to smell and taste and not try to match it up necessarily, but just try to
tell you which one I like.
Pick one that you like the best.
Yeah. So there's a chance that if Weller 12 is poor man's Pappy, then Weller Special Reserve could be poor man's Pappy's poor man's Pappy.
Poor man's Pappy's uncle.
Yeah. So, so for us, we paid $53 for Weller 12 and $39 for Weller Special Reserve. So
which is
very reasonable.
Very reasonable for the 12, by the way. Very reasonable.
Especially for what the secondary
market. There's bourbons out there that are not sought after that are around the same price. So
no, or more, yeah.
If not more, yeah.
Okay, so let's get right into it.
Let's get right to it.
I'm going to start by nosing the blue.
I'm going to pull out your salt to cleanse your palate.
My palate cleanser. Okay, blue has a lovely nose. It has that, it has a little bit of a tartness to it.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of a sweetness to it. It has the Buffalo Trace cherry medicinal.
Signature smells, for sure.
But a little bit musty as well.
And this is also like, again, they're both Wellers, so we're comparing apples to apples here.
Yeah, it's tough, right?
So it's going to be tough to, if there's a huge difference in quality going on.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's nice to begin with. Let me get into the red sticker here. Just going to coat the glass a little bit to make sure I get a nice nosing on it. Okay, this one seems a bit richer, a bit bolder. If I was to predict early on, which can be a downfall of a blind tasting. It can be,
because then you get it in your head that you know what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. I would say this is the 12.
And what's the color on that?
This is the red one. And I could totally be wrong on that. The only reason that I say that is that the richness and boldness of this red one, there's a bit more of a tartness kind of going on in the blue. But now it kind of translates to a little bit more cherryish.
True, but sometimes, and I'm not trying to give any hints or anything like that, but I find with bourbons especially, sometimes tartness
that new oak, right?
It reflects new oak and sometimes age.
Right, so it's like, oh, it's actually spent more time in the barrel.
Or potentially less, because
Yeah.
it's kind of gluey, you know?
Yeah, so this one is a bit medicinal and cherry-ish, whereas this one is a little bit more deeper and richer. And I'm really dragging this out already. I'm just doing nose. Now, if I was just to say offhand, I would say that I like the red better on the nose.
The red better on the nose.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like I said, I'm all about if it ends up being that Weller Special Reserve is my favorite.
Yeah.
That works out great for me because now I'm a more readily available, cheaper bourbon.
You've saved yourselves like $25.
It's like for us, we did the blind tasting of all the Wild Turkey lineup, and Wild Turkey 101 was both of our favorite.
It wins every time.
And it was like $30 versus the Russell's Reserve at more than twice that, and you know, it's like
Rare
okay, great.
at like 70 or whatever. Yeah.
It's like great. Well, now we know we can spend $30 and be just as happy.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Just as pappy.
Just as happy. Tasting blue. Nice sweetness, slightly nutty, a little bit tart. I can taste the alcohol in there. It kind of is similar to the nose on the taste. And it does have that cherry medicinal buffalo trace.
Very classic of the
as I
distillery,
would
for
expect.
Sure. Yeah. And some of the things you come to love about these products. Like they are
cherry
such
Vicks.
a signature to this distillery.
That is in the Colonel E.H. Taylor's. It's in the Buffalo Trace. It's in the Wellers. It's like ancient age.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, tasting red.
Okay. Moving on to red. Which had the richer nose.
Slightly sweeter up front.
Ooh.
Which to me is, I like a sweet bourbon.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
And
you know, if it can mix in some complexities of you know, like mustiness.
this one seems to have a little bit more oomph to it in the alcohol. Like I'm tasting the alcohol a little bit more.
That's something we haven't mentioned, and maybe I won't mention, but I just want to look, just for.
I can't remember if there's a percentage difference on these two.
No, there is not.
Okay. I was gonna say one might be 43 or 45, but I guess
they're
they're both 45.
Generally, if not, then they're going to be very close.
I'm just gonna call it. I'm not gonna waste anyone's time.
Sure.
I'm gonna say that I both on nose and flavor I like the red.
Okay, cool.
So
do you want to find out what the blue is first then?
sure, tell me what the blue is.
The blue is the Special Reserve.
Okay.
So I think you hit the nail on the head with all those tasting notes.
Yeah.
And then the 12-year-old being aged longer, a little bit more rich, a little bit more bold. That's the one you chose.
For me, it was a fairly obvious decision.
Really? Okay.
Like more so than the Pappy versus Buffalo Trace.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, like to me, I felt like I could taste a distinct difference between these two.
In quality.
Not knowing which one was which,
Yeah.
but at the same time, like I like the nose quite significantly more on the 12 and the taste.
So was it that there's a difference, a significant difference in the quality that you're
Just
tasting?
not necessarily quality, more of just the flavor profile. Like this one to me was tangier and tardier, and this one was sweeter and richer.
Cool.
And to me, sweeter and richer is always going to win out.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
I said, you may now that I've kind of like spoiler alert given it away, it might be a little bit easier for you. But blind tastings are crazy. You can get mind fucked just by hearing some info. Sometimes you're just like,
it actually can screw you up.
yeah. So you have to kind of like mentally reset so that you don't really get screwed.
And to be honest, when I do this, these are two whiskeys that I don't know that well, really.
Yeah.
Like I've only tried them a handful of times and haven't really dissected them.
Yeah, you haven't gotten to know them.
Looking forward to it.
Okay, your turn. Let's go. Okay, welcome back to the Trenny round of the Weller blind tasting.
Looking forward to it.
Let me just take this Vienna sausage goo soaked rag off of off of here.
Ooh.
Now, as everyone knows, the color of the glasses matches the color on the bottle. Trenny has no idea which glass matches which bottle. All he knows is that he's got Wellers on his hands here.
Weller on my mind. Okay, I'm going to start with the red. Just going by nose alone first.
Sure. Sniff it up. Sniff it in.
Okay, that's nice. Nice
Red
and
is
sweet.
nice.
A little, I mean, it's Buffalo Trace through and through.
Yeah, to the core. It's one of those whiskeys where, so occasionally you and I will, we'll be playing cards or something like that, and we'll say, okay, just bring me something from the whiskey room there. We bring each other a glass of whiskey and ask the other one to dissect it. I feel like this is one of those brands, whether it be Blanton's or Colonel E.H. Taylor or Weller, we'd be able to say, oh, this is Buffalo Trace.
Yeah, for sure.
You wouldn't necessarily know which one, but you'd know it's Buffalo Trace to its core.
Okay, so
Pardon
when
me.
you were doing this, you had a very distinct, specific...
I kind of felt like I
You knew what you wanted right
I had a
away.
gut feeling, yeah.
And I'm honestly, like, kind of struggling with this because both noses are really good. I think...
You're not necessarily an aficionado of the bourbons, or specifically the Wellers.
I feel like the red nose has a little bit more going on.
Okay. In what sense?
It's just a little richer, but hold on. Let me reset my nose palate by smelling
yes.
my dirty sweater.
That should do it. That should get the bourbon out of you.
Oh, but this has something too. There's... I don't know if it's specifically an age thing going on in the nose here.
Both are good, though.
They're like...
There's no question.
They are a little different, but they're not like...
They're not vastly
It's
different.
not vastly different.
I mean, that's the tough part. They are both,
Okay, well, I'm
From
going
the
to just
same-
go with taste now. Because I honestly...
you can differentiate, though.
I can
You can
tell
tell
one's
they're
different, but I can't tell which one I'm really, like, rooting for at this
Oh.
point.
But you don't have a nose favorite.
Not yet. They
Interesting.
each have something different about them.
They do.
But, oddly familiar.
Right.
I feel... Okay, I'm going to taste the red first.
Right.
Here we go.
Red. Tasting red.
Sweet.
Right.
Little bit dusty. Little bit sweet and sour. It has that cherry Vicks
Mm-hmm.
medicinal feeling to it. Without tasting the salt, I'm going to go straight to the blue.
Is Vicks a Canadian product? Like, do
Maybe.
people in the States know what Vicks is? They're like cough drops. It's like a cherry cough drop.
Oh. Okay.
Mm.
I feel like blue is sweeter.
Okay.
Hold on.
Do you want the salt?
No, do you know what it is?
You're just going back and forth.
Blue, I think, is more mild, which gives it an impression that it's sweeter. Where the red has a little bit more of a spice to it, or a depth to it.
Okay.
That is, I can't tell if it means it's actually aged longer and has more oak influence, or if it's, I just can't completely tell. I'm gonna be honest.
So you can't taste the
The difference-
$13 difference between these two?
Between the Weller and the Weller. I mean, there is a difference, but not one is standing out as being like the one that I like more.
It's not quite the same as saying you can't taste the $500 difference between the Pappy and the regular Buffalo Trace. Tis only $13 difference.
That red
Maybe
I quite
14
like.
$14.
Okay.
Quite liking red.
Quite liking red, but
I'm sure.
now going to blue. Oh, I put way too much salt in my mouth.
How's the salt taste though?
It might have just ruined
The
this.
salt is currently
might
ranking
have
first.
ruined this entire experience.
Oh, I think your palate's reset all right.
Okay. Blue is good.
Right.
They're
So how do
both
we
good.
break the tie?
I don't know.
I think it really
You know what?
comes down.
Okay,
to
I'm gonna go with. I think I like red the best.
Okay. Why?
Um,
Why?
It just seems to have a little bit more. I don't know if like heat is necessarily a good thing, but it's a little bit spicier.
Yeah.
But it has a little bit of a sweetness to it. It seems to have a little bit more oak to it. Could be wrong. The what color is this?
Blue.
Blue is a little. A little lighter on the palate, but it's highly drinkable.
Oh.
Like I feel like I could crush that one quicker than I could this one. But I think I like this one a little bit better. So that's my final answer.
Any predictions?
Not really.
No. No clue.
No clue.
Okay, you chose red, so that means the blue is Weller Special Reserve, and red is Weller 12.
Oh yay!
So you actually also chose the 12-year-old.
That's one of the first
for
times
whatever
that's happened.
psychological reason.
I think it's funny because the blue is I just felt was a little lighter, almost like there was more of a wheat kind of content to it.
It was a bit weaker.
A little weaker and even a little weaker in the nose. But this red almost has this kind of like gluey thing, musty thing, but I think that must be the age. Anyway, both very, very good.
Well,
But I'm glad for one of the first times that we've actually chosen the same.
yeah, that is
It
true.
doesn't happen very often.
Yeah. Well, there you have it, folks. 2 out of 2 half-ass whiskey reviewers choose Weller 12 over Weller Special Reserve. So, perhaps the hype is worth it.
They're very similar. We always say that in these videos, but when you were tasting that, you had a distinct difference.
I felt quite strongly about my decision.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Anyway, it's been fun. We appreciate you watching. Click subscribe. Click the like button. Buy a t-shirt. Buy a challenge coin. I don't know. Whatever.
Leave a comment because we always reply back.
That's right.
Even if it's just like,
What's up?
cool.
Cool.
Oh, cool.
Okay, cheersies.
Cheers.
Drinking whiskey, describing all the flavors for you and me. Irish, Scotch, bourbon and rye. If they like a bottle, they'll tell you why. Subscribe on YouTube.